Perfect. Perfect. All right. So today we are going to talk about the truth and lies or the myths and the realities about low sex drive in women. It's a really fun topic. It's one that I end up having a lot of coaching sessions on with my clients because so many women write down low sex drive as one of their main symptoms. So I want to really unravel that topic today. Might feel a little bit controversial at some points, things that you probably haven't considered, but that's all right. That's what I like to talk about. But let's do some housekeeping beforehand. So I'm Sandy. I'm an integrative healing practitioner. I'm the author of Heal Yourself. I'm the founder of the Integrative Healing Academy. And anything you hear today is for educational purposes only. Please talk to your doctor before making any changes to anything you're doing. General liability, we just get it out of the way right away. It is my passion, my purpose to get as many practitioners out there as we can, trained in the Heal Yourself program, making an impact, reshaping the world of functional medicine. So if you're looking for a practitioner that runs the best labs, has the best plan in place, works with the body, not against the body, then go to my website, sgintegrativehealing.com. You can check out my program, my packages, and you can book a health assessment there. So let's get started. This, like I said, it's a big topic. So many women list low sex drive as one of their big symptoms that they have when they come to work with me. And so I've done this coaching call a lot of times where I go over the causes and the truths about why women have low sex drive. Really going back and forth, truths and lies. I don't really think they're lies because people aren't knowingly withholding the truth. So myths and realities. I'm going to work on that title, but myth number one, right off the bat, is your sex drive should be as high as your partner's. You know, how many of you have heard that your sex drive should be higher? It's not high enough. Um, there's something wrong when your sex drive isn't up there. And that is a huge myth. It is not true. There is nothing wrong with you if your sex drive is not through the roof and matching your husband's or your partner's. Women are not men. We are not designed to have a high sex drive all the time. And all we have to do is really look at biology. Males are able to procreate pretty well all the time, multiple times a day, up until the time that they die. Sometimes men can live to 100 years old and still procreate. And, women cannot do that. We are not able to procreate until the day that we die. We have a finite amount of eggs, and our egg that makes us want to procreate, that allows us to procreate, is released once a month if we have a very healthy, regular cycle. Now, men, because they can procreate multiple times a day for their entire lives, they think about sex a lot. It is literally built into them. It is a drive. It is what allows our species to proliferate. Now, women, we are fertile about once a month, and it's normally that time that we're going to feel more aroused and actually think more about sex. It's just in that time that we're fertile. Now, in very fertile women, they are going to have fertile cervical fluids. And that's a really good indication that you're about to ovulate, is when you have egg white cervical fluids that can sometimes just gush, like they're just flowing all day up to 6 days prior to ovulation. And once you ovulate, those are going to turn off, but you're still technically fertile for up to 2 days after the egg is released. So during that time, that is when we are ready to go. And for me personally, it's the only time where I'm actually thinking about having sex. And it's like, I want to do this the rest of the month. It's not. And so during that time, I'm normally all over Eric. Like I find he's so attractive. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have really nice shoulders. Oh, and I'm just seeing all these things. And he's just very, very, really great to look at, and I'm just like, oh, I love you. And then I ovulate and it's done. And he's like, oh, you ready? And I'm like, no, no, thank you. Like, don't even touch me. I don't want to be touched. And then he's like, wow, oh God, you ovulated. So this is what happens. Biology happens. When you are fertile, when you are releasing fertile fluids and your body is ready to go, you're going to be thinking about sex. And on the other times, probably not going to be. Now, we're going to dive a little deeper into, things that can go wrong in that part of the cycle, and things that we can do to increase our sex drive at other parts of the cycle. But that is just the reality of it. Like if I look at my mare Bala, she has her cycle twice a year. And during that time, she is ready to go. She loves her geldings. She is so lovable. They can groom her, they can touch her. She's all over them. And then it's done. And she does not want them to touch her at all. She does not want to have anything to do with them. And we cannot take the biology out of us. Now, myth number 2, there is no magic supplement to turn on your sex drive and make you aroused all the time and have a high sex drive all the time. The truth is, no, there isn't. It's not going to happen. So for women who aren't having fertile fluids, who aren't ovulating on a regular schedule, who are missing periods, who are having, a lot of actual hormonal fluctuations, then yes, there are labs we can run to see what's going on. There are supplements that can help. Most of the time, not all of the time. Some of the time it's, it could be something structurally wrong. There could be something going on. So most of the time, but there's labs that we can run. There are things that we can do to help regulate the cycle, bring the fertile fluids up, and getting you more able to be healthy in that area. But for women with regular cycles, good fertile fluids during your fertile window, and you aren't aroused during that time, there's normally not going to be a supplement to fix it. And it doesn't mean we can't improve the sex drive, but it just means that there's other reasons why you're not wanting to have sex. And that the same reasons are going to keep you from wanting to have sex on your non-fertile days, where you're really not meant to be super aroused, but sometimes we could be more in the mood for the intimacy. But if you're not feeling it any time, then there are lots of things that we can do, but it's not a supplemental issue. It's not a health issue. And right off the bat, if you're one of these women who find that your sex drive is just non-existent at any time of your cycle and you are having really healthy cycles, then I want to ask you, are you exhausted? Do you work all day? Do you come home and take care of your kids, make dinner, clean the house? And by the time evening comes and your partner is ready to have sex, is sex actually on your mind? Or are you thinking about going to bed? Right? So maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. You're taking care of babies all day. You're not getting any time for yourself. You're always meeting other people's needs. And again, when nighttime comes, are you thinking about sex? Or are you thinking about going to bed? Or even just sitting on the couch and watching TV while you scroll through your Facebook because you finally have a few minutes to yourself? Now, how many of you ladies who are having low sex drive as one of the symptoms feel resentment in any way towards your partner? Anything really, it could be anything. How many of you who listed low sex drive as a complaint don't feel comfortable in your body? Perhaps after having kids, you've gained some weight, there's more saggy skin, whatever the reason is, if you're not feeling comfortable in your body. And these things, and there's many other things, this is just a very short list, but these are things that block our sex drive. Now, looking at that, there's not going to be a supplement to fix it. It's going to require a lot of work on ourselves. We're going to have to work on our lifestyle. We're going to have to work on our mindset. We're going to have to work on our relationship. And it's tough. Like it's actually a lot of work. And some of it can mean bringing up really uncomfortable conversations with your partner. And we'd often rather just think that there's a supplement to fix it, and there isn't. We've got to learn how to express our feelings. We have to feel heard. We have to learn how to get our needs met. Because if you're going around meeting everybody's needs all the time, and you're never learning to relax and become dependent and express your needs and be heard, then nobody else is going to step up and just start meeting the needs when you're doing it all, right? So it takes a lot of work. And we'll go back to that a little bit, but I know some of you may be thinking, well, when I was younger, I was aroused all the time, and now I'm not. And I can tell you, when I was a teenager, I was aroused all the time. My physiology was literally set up. It was getting me ready to procreate. But there was also other things that were making me aroused all the time. Like I wanted to be wanted. I wanted to feel loved. I was seeking a dopamine high through sex because my neurotransmitters were so out of balance. And as a teenager, I really did not have a lot of other things to focus on. And, this could happen in your teens. This can happen in your 20s, where your sex drive might have been or might be really, really high because of one of these reasons. And then when you end up having children and having responsibility and having people that you need to take care of and not having that time for yourself and having your needs met, then the sex drive goes down. When you're exhausted, it's not going to be your top priority, especially at those times of the month where you are not fertile whatsoever. And nowadays, women are expected to do so much. We're expected to go to work and help out with the finances because the world is so expensive. And if we don't work, we feel guilty for not making money. But when we are working, then we feel guilty because we're not at home taking care of our kids and being with our kids as much as we would like to. So emotional stress is through the roof. And then on top of that, we're being, expected to have a really high sex drive. And it's just not reality. So we have to let go of any guilt that's there that we may feel because we're not able to have that sex drive that people are expecting us to have. We're tired, we're overworked, and oftentimes we're carrying a whole lot of resentment towards our partner for many different things. So how can we change that? Now, I could do, 100 talks on how to learn to communicate your needs and how to delegate things, but we'll just go over some key ways. But it really is just something to acknowledge, become aware of, and then start leaning into some mindset work, some personal growth, working on yourself, learning how to communicate, finding your confidence is so, so important. Because if we don't have the confidence to communicate with our partners, we could be afraid that they're going to get angry or they're not going to listen, or we're afraid of the rejection if we start to express our needs. We have to work through that and be really solid in speaking what we feel. Because how many women out there, something happens and you don't say anything about it. And then another thing happens and you don't say anything about it, and you just hold it in. It's that need to be loved, that need to be wanted and appreciated. And then it just gets too much and we bottle it up and then we explode. And there's never any healthy communication going on. So we want to really work on building our confidence. Really important, if you're exhausted all the time, you've got to take some things off your plate, whether it's delegating it to your husband, delegating it to somebody in your family, delegating it to your kids, or just lowering your expectations of what you need to do, right? And taking care of yourself, getting in self-care. Like, how much self-care are you doing every day? Are you even doing any? Or, some women don't do any self-care for weeks on end. So we have to look at all these things that are really blocking any sexual energy that we could have. Because yes, during that fertile time, we are more aroused, but during the rest of the cycle, there's room for some really amazing intimacy. And that is a totally different aspect of your relationship, where when the relationship is healthy, where both people are wanting to meet each other's needs, then you see other areas open up, like romance and flirting and play and having fun and doing those things together that brings the level of intimacy up, so that sex might not be something that you are really driven to seek, but it's something that you start to enjoy and want to do because you're meeting each other's needs. So for us, for Eric and I, it's definitely been a journey. And there was a time where I felt my needs were not being met, and sex was just not something that I was thinking about at all. And I can tell you, there is nothing that's more of a turn on for me than watching Eric do something for me, like take something off my plate of his own accord without any nagging. And this job could have taken up a lot of energy. And he's like, I'm going to do that. And you'll see Eric, like he cleans up our horse poop every single day. We live on 5 acres. We have, we're down to 3 horses right now, but he'll go and clean up the poop because he knows that that is going to take a big amount of time off of my plate and free up some of that energy. And for men, sex is a need. Men need, and it's not so much sex. Okay, orgasm, I'll reward that. Orgasm is a need. For them to maintain healthy prostate function, orgasm every 1 to 2 days is very, very important. We see a lot of men developing prostate issues when they're not reaching orgasm. Now, for sure, they can definitely tackle that on their own. But when you start to express your needs, when your partner starts to step up to the plate, then it's going to bring this level of intimacy and connection that is pretty amazing. Now, there's a couple more things I want to touch on, and that's women that are postmenopausal. So that is going to remove your drive for wanting to procreate, because we're out of eggs when we are postmenopausal. But again, it's that level of intimacy, right? And a lot of postmenopausal women are put on testosterone. And this is another myth that we're hitting, that testosterone is actually going to increase your sex drive. If we look at our cycle, like when we are actually most fertile, our testosterone levels really aren't changing or going up and down. Testosterone doesn't do a lot for women. If anything, when our levels get too high, we start to get acne, we start to get hair in places that it shouldn't be, we start to get aggressive, we start to have a deep voice. So it's not really good for us. But when we look at our cycle, when we are most fertile and most actively going to think about sex, if those other things aren't blocking it, our estrogen levels going up, our LH is going up, our FSH is going up. Now, that's not going to happen postmenopausally. And so when these women are put on these high doses of testosterone, we end up seeing a lot of negative health issues. And really, it's not worth it to cause harm just to get your sex drive up. Now, increasing estrogen, if it's safe, based on a Dutch test, if you're postmenopausal and you look and you see that your metabolism is okay and you're able to increase your estrogen, that can help. But more often than not, postmenopausally, women don't want to have sex anymore because it becomes very, very uncomfortable. The vaginal tissue starts to atrophy because the estrogen is not there. It becomes very dry. It becomes very painful. And that is why they don't want to have sex. It's very uncomfortable. It hurts. So getting things like vaginal estriol, vaginal DHEA, we can actually rebuild the vaginal tissue without having a huge impact on the body and having any negative effects of increasing those hormones, because some women really should not be having any bioidentical hormones postmenopausally, because it increases the risk of cancer. And that's why we run the Dutch. That's why we check our genetics. That's why we make it safe first. But women can do it vaginally with very, very low impact on the body. And when it comes to lubrication in general, this isn't just a postmenopausal problem. If you are not actively fertile and producing fertile fluids, you're not going to be well lubricated. And it's not like men. It's not like flip a switch, just look at your husband in a certain way and he's ready. It's not like that with women. We need to have a good amount of foreplay before we're even ready. And for most of us, we don't really want the foreplay because we're too tired. We just kind of want to, do to have some enjoyment there and then go to sleep or move on. Or if you don't have kids at home, maybe you can do it at other times of the day. But right now, like for Eric and I, it's Gaden's got to be asleep. We have no other time. And lube is a really big thing. If you're not lubricated and you're having sex, that's painful. So get yourself a good lube. I use lube all the time. I use Love Lotion. It's a Canadian product. You sadly can't get it in the US. So whenever I go back to Canada, I order myself a whole bunch of them and I bring them back. It's called Love Lotion and it's by Laura. I can never pronounce her last name. It starts with a V. But you can look it up and find something with similar ingredients if you're in the US, but it really makes a huge difference and highly, highly recommend that you use it. Like, don't expect your body to magically be there. Like, there's not something wrong with you if you're not actively lubricated, and like, unless you've really, really been using the foreplay. So definitely a hugely personal talk here. I'm going to check on Facebook to see if I can see any comments on the video. There we go. It's not really showing. It's showing that we're watching, but if you guys do have any questions on this or any natural health questions in general, just post it in the comments. Post in the comments too, whether you like the truth and lies about women's sex drive or the myths and realities. I gotta work on a really good talk title for this one, but super important that you realize that let go of any guilt towards where your sex drive is, where you think it should be, and write down a list of any resentments that you feel. Write down how you feel that you are exhausted, how many things are on your plate, what things could you delegate to other people. What can you do for self-care every day, a little bit of self-care every day. And I highly recommend that you dive into reading different mindset books to help and learn tools to express yourself, learn tools to gain your confidence. And over the years, for me, it's been through mindset books and different courses that I've taken that I have found that confidence to express myself. And it's made an amazing impact in my relationship because we are both equally now trying to meet each other's needs and raise each other up and make each other feel good. So it makes a huge difference. Here's a title: What Every Man Should Know About Women's Sex Drive. Perfect. And Grace says, thumbs up on the lubricant. And Raquel says, I liked fractionated coconut oil. I don't do well with coconut oil. Honestly, ever since I went high fat, paleo, high fat, raw vegan, and I ate so much coconut oil, like coconut oil, the smell of it makes me vomit. If I eat it, I'll vomit. And my body just is repelled by it. It's just like, do not ever feed that to me or touch me with that again. So yeah, you can definitely try the fractionated coconut oil, see if that works. And it's just finding one that you like, that makes things much more enjoyable. All right. So again, if you are interested in coaching, if you are having issues with your cycle, then definitely check out my coaching packages, check out my program, the Heal Yourself program. We can get some amazing foundational support on board for your body, and then we can check out and see what your hormones are doing, and work to get those cycles regular, because that definitely will help. If you're if your cycles are all over the place, you're not even going to get that window of time where you're super fertile and ready to go. Sarah says, is only water-based lube healthy to use? I just don't love how it dries up quickly. It's not, it's more so what you like. If you like an oil-based and your vagina likes that and you're not getting a yeast infection afterwards, then go for it. Use what you like. There's a lot of different things out there. I just found this lube many, many years ago in our health food store, and I haven't turned back since then. Like I couldn't imagine using a regular lube from the pharmacy ever again. It's gross. So yeah, experiment. Find one that you like and use it beforehand on yourself. It just makes things so much nicer. And for women, a lot of women after sex are more prone to bladder infections. So please make sure immediately after sex that you are peeing. And if you're prone to yeast infections after having sex, that's indicating that there's something going on with your vaginal flora, with your vaginal pH. And really important to, yes, work on your hormones, work on the underlying root causes. Oftentimes it's oxalates or ammonia that are changing the pH in the vagina. But in the meantime, after sex, you can actually insert a capsule of borax. I prefer using borax over boric acid. The borax is actually the natural one. And you just fill up a capsule, you insert it before bed, and it's going to take care of any issues that can happen from having the sperm inside of you. And if you're using a condom, then make sure you're not allergic to latex. Make sure that you're using a more natural one that's not going to irritate the vagina as much, because a lot of times it is the condom that is causing the problem. Sometimes you can have a little bit of a reaction to your husband's semen. That can happen also, but the higher the pH of the vagina, the lower the pH, the higher the acidity of the vagina, the better it's going to be able to handle that. All right. So if you have any questions, just post them in the comments. Feel free to share this with anybody that you feel could benefit, because we want to, as women, not feel guilty that we're not able to meet other people's expectations. And that could be with everything that we're doing in our lives. That can be with our sex drive, whatever. We have to really honor ourselves and look deep into why things aren't going that way, why we're not feeling that intimacy with our partner. It's not a switch. We're not like men. It's not a switch that can just be turned on. And we really have to honor that and respect that about ourselves. So even when you're like at a period of time where it's, I'm wanting to meet Eric's need, it's not just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to lay there. And it is really, oh, look, you found it on VitaSave US. It is that one. Lindsay just posted the link. That's the love lotion. But it's really an intimacy. And that intimacy comes through working through the resentment, finding the connection, open communication, feeling loved, feeling heard. That all has to be there for the intimacy to happen. All right, and I really do like your title, Raquel. We're gonna go with something like that. So you guys have yourself a great afternoon, and I'm gonna try to do a live stream again in a couple weeks. See you later. I'm gonna say bye, but I don't even have Zoom open right now. So all right, we'll see you later. Bye.